Good morning, everyone. We will begin the session. Welcome to the Global Dialogue Young Entrepreneurs as Drivers of Sustainable Growth. My name is Jose Glautier, and I'm a Program Officer for the Young America's Business Trust. And together with the World Bank Group and the IFC, we are organizing this preparatory process for a flagship event on youth to take place on the annual meetings of the World Bank and IMF in Lima, Peru. Your moderator is Bernard Songo. He's an international development professional with 10 years of experience in multifaceted East, Central, and West Africa on project management, economic reconstruction, community development, urban development, and governance. Fully bilingual in English and French, he takes a deep interest in complex challenges faced by governments and international organizations in finding new and creative solutions to address socioeconomic and political issues in emerging countries. He is currently working on launching a social entrepreneurship venture in agriculture in Burkina Faso, his home country. Bernard holds an MA in urban planning from the University of Paris and an MA in international affairs from the Fletcher School of Law and Diplomacy. So I welcome Bernard and I welcome everyone. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, Joseph, for the introduction. I hope everybody can hear me. Um, so I'm Bernard Zongo, and sorry guys, my voice is a little bit weird because it's 4 a.m. here in Canada. So yeah, but I hope it will get better. Thank you very much for joining us for this global dialogue. I am the moderator, and you will be able to see my screen. And let's get started. Sorry. So as you have received the emails in the last couple of months, this is the global dialogue, and this is the second session. The first one was in French. The second one today is in English, and we'll have a third one in Spanish. And the entire purpose of this dialogue is to prepare for the next annual meeting of the World Bank Group and the IMF in Lima in Peru. The idea is to put forth the agenda for programs and policy that the International Development Agency, teaming with governments, can put forth to support young entrepreneurships. So in Lima, there will be a flagship event in October 8th, and the entire purpose of the 3 dialogues is to feed the high panel that we'll have in Lima on October 8th. So, for today's dialogue, we have received registration from almost 44 countries, 10 in Africa, 14 in Africa, 10 in the Caribbean and America. 6 in Asia, and 4 from Europe. Many people are not here yet, but we believe they will join us as we go. Remember, you will still have the possibility to go online and submit ideas to the Young American Business Trust. So this is just, the dialogue is just the beginning. We can still continue to discuss and exchange online on the WABT website. So I do have to apologize if you register newly and you don't see your country on screen. This is the countries where people register from as of yesterday. So before we get started with the questions, Let me just ask you to comply with some basic rules. Number one, as you know, we'll have only 3 questions to talk about. Number 2 is that because of the time limit, we'll spend between 25 to 30 minutes per question. As you can see on my screen, if you want to intervene, you can raise your hand. Let me just show you where to do that. You see the mouse, where the mouse is? There's a hand. If you want to intervene, just click on that, and I will see your name on top on my screen. So I can open your mic and you can speak. Because it's an online dialogue, only one person will be able to speak at a time. So while I'm speaking, for instance, all the mics of other attendees are not open. So for you to hear my voice clearly. For the sake of allowing everybody to intervene regularly, we will ask you to do everything possible to make your case, make your point within 3 minutes. That will be awesome. And for that, obviously, we'll ask people to go straight to the point, and boom, 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 and we move forward. Remember, you can still ask questions while we're having the dialogue. If you want to chat, you can just tape your question and send it. I will be able to see it, and the WABT team will see it, and we can feed your questions in the dialogue. Is everything all right? If you don't have a question, we'll get started with the first one. So this is the first question. The idea is to have a kind of big picture of what your government is doing in your country in terms of programs or in terms of policy that allow entrepreneurs to get the idea of the ground. So it will be great if you can be very specific about the nature of the program or the policy, and give a little bit of detail for other people to intervene. So, yep, that's the first question, and anyone who would like to share his experience or her experience is welcome. So just raise your hand and I can open your mic. Okay, we have Kamara Guru. Hello.
Hi. First, I think it's good morning there. So good morning, everyone. Like you said, straight to the point. In Sri Lanka, we are there is a ministry called Labour Ministry. Career guidance on 2 elements. One is students who straight after their higher studies, or even sometimes dropouts, and university grads. And second thing is entrepreneurs, especially young entrepreneurs who wanted to do business. So they have training program, entrepreneurship training programs, something called JobsNet, where people can register themselves for jobs, as well as dedicated staff in each district, and a dedicated unit called career development, career guidance and development.
Okay.
So this is just a new initiative from the government, and they are picking up. They are going. So feel this kind of it's still in the infant stage, even though it has been 2 to 3 years old formulating. I think it's a good initiative, and we are working with them as partners.
Okay, so basically the government is focusing on capacity building. Hello?
Yes, that's right. Capacity build, yeah,
Okay,
capacity build. Also, they support initiatives.
supporting initiatives.
So,
Um, we have a little bit of problem with your mic. I believe it's maybe your internet connection. Um, I hope. Um, up. Okay, let's go back with Rebecca. One moment. Rebecca, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello, everyone. Kamara, unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to hear a little bit about you, so I'm going to start by introducing myself a little bit. I'm calling in from Boston, Massachusetts, and I run a nonprofit called CHES, CHES, which stands for Christian Haitian Entrepreneurial Society. And since 2008, we've been working with entrepreneurs in rural parts of Haiti, and we have been intervening in education and financing small to medium-sized businesses that have the potential to scale. And we have also been coaching and mentoring entrepreneurs.
Okay.
And to start to respond to the question posed, while we're not a business in ourselves, we do work with many entrepreneurs. We work with entrepreneurs that we help in rural parts of Haiti. We also work with entrepreneurs that have startups, especially the startups that are based in Haiti, where the main bulk of their operations are there. And a main source of revenue for us is offering these products that we source from Haiti, from these Haitian companies, to our supporters here in the Boston area. So things that I've observed that the government of Haiti has done in supporting foreign investment and business and economic growth in Haiti are initiating initiatives such as the Center for Investors, and also a way for people to start a business and get it founded all online, and I think within a period of 24 to 48 hours, a business can be started in Haiti via their website.
Wow. That's great. And how successful so far for the program?
Well, for our programs, I think it's been more successful for the entrepreneurs that we work with whose product we sell here, because most often than not, these are Haitian diaspora. There are also people from other countries that this is helping. Although for the population of entrepreneurs we work with, it doesn't target them so much, and this is an opportunity for enhancing the accessibility of these resources, because there's a lot of data showing that small and medium-sized businesses are key to rising economies.
Okay. Thank you very much, Rebecca. Just as a reminder, we like people who don't have a mic or who have difficulties with the internet, you can still type your question in the question box, and Jose will read it loud for other people to hear it and provide answers as well. So let's go with Munlo. Another point, just introduce yourself briefly and state your name and where you're calling from, what you're doing before answering the question. So Munlo, we're listening. Eric, hello? Hello? Nope. It's not here. Munlo?
Hello. Yes, sorry, my microphone was muted.
Okay.
My name is Nda. Munlo is my last name, and
Okay.
I'm calling from Addis Ababa. I'm with
Okay.
a group of entrepreneurs. Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, great. I'm with a group of entrepreneurs that was brought together by the African Union. And of course, I just have to give a little disclaimer that these are our views and it's not the views of the African Union per se. We would just, it just facilitated our interaction. So
Okay.
what came up when we were discussing was that the main policies that have helped us are those aimed at streamlining business processes. So things such as making it easier to acquire trade licenses and also to register our businesses, and also policies aimed at increasing opportunities for marginalized groups, so such as women, young people, and indigenous or black people. However, it must be said that, well, first let me give a few examples. One is that in Kenya, it came up that the government said that 30% of all contracts, government contracts, should be targeted at youth and women. And then also there was an initiative by the Chamber of Commerce to organize networking opportunities for women throughout the country. So those policies have been good, but what has been lacking is implementation. So they are very good policies, but sometimes the general consensus was that implementation has not been great. So with the other one where I talked about 30% of all contracts going to youth and women, we find that only maybe 2.8% have actually gone there. And this is for a couple of reasons. It might be capacity limitations, but also sometimes you get through tribalism, through nepotism, through maybe corruption, you find that there are people who are not youth that are benefiting from these programs. And this is not just limited to Kenya, it's just in general that came up. And last thing is that it seems as though the programs aimed at entrepreneurs are more successful when done by the private sector or NGOs, I guess such as Rebecca's who talked earlier. And so it might be interesting to look at why that might be. Yeah, that's our contribution to that answer.
Okay, great. Just a follow-up questions. What are your main criteria to assess whether the program or the policy is successful if like governments are facing challenges for implementation?
What are our main criteria to see if the program is successful?
Yeah.
Well, I think as youth or as entrepreneurs, you look at it through, you can only look at it, well, tend to look at it through mainly your own lens. So if you hear that there's a certain government policy and you are aware of the impact that they're trying to achieve, but then you realize that it hasn't reached the people they're trying to reach, then I guess for us, even though the policy may be relevant and may be well written, if it doesn't really translate into actions that affect our daily lives, then we consider that policy not really effective for us. Yeah.
Okay, great. Thanks a lot. Let's give the floor to Felicia. Felicia, can you hear me? Felicia?
Hi, yes, good morning. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Are you there?
Yes, I am.
All right, we're listening. Felicia, can you hear him? Are you there? Oh, she self-muted her mic. Um, um, One other point, do not touch the green, do not self-mute your mic. If you self-mute your mic, even if I open the mic, you will speak, but no one will understand, will hear you. So just please, on the left of the toolbox, do not click on the mic to self-mute yourself. So let's try again with Felicia, if she's still there. All right. Felicia, can you hear us?
Well, it doesn't say mute.
Hello?
Hi.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, you can hear
Yes.
me. Okay. Hi,
Yes.
good morning, everyone. Well, it's good morning in Trinidad. I'm Felicia, and I have a small company with my partner. Currently work with private sector, very to a small extent has been with the public sector funding or support.
Felicia, we have a little bit of trouble with your mic. Hello, can you hear me? Okay, let's move to someone else. I hope she will be able to get back to us. So anyone else want to intervene? Constantine. Hello, Constantine.
Hello, good day.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
Good, we're listening.
Okay, I wanted to answer your question, the one that you were talking about. You were asking about the measures of success of government efforts.
Yep.
As the youth, I think, kind of like what Nda said, we measure it through our own lens.
Sorry, where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Harare, Zimbabwe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
So, okay. So my response to your question on measures of success is basically is through access. Like if government gives a quota for, let's say, 30% of all procurement is done through the youth. Me as an entrepreneur, how easy is it to access such a scheme? And what are the opportunities that are presented on a ground level to the ordinary youth or the ordinary entrepreneur who's on the ground? And has the quota been met? Can government give like an actual breakdown or even an infographic saying we've covered this section of industry and these are the number of entrepreneurs that have been impacted and this is the growth that they've had? And one of the biggest indicators, especially in Africa, should be the inclusive economy, where the youth, the marginalized, and especially women are given precedence and they're actually monitored and they're actually encouraged. There tends to be a lot of lag between policy and actual implementation.
So your point is you have two main criteria. The number one is access. How easy is it
Yes.
for young entrepreneurs to have access to the government scheme? And the second one is inclusivity.
Yes.
Is the program or the policy targeting marginalized and vulnerable groups, right? But
Yes.
sometimes also is that, as Munlo stated it, sometimes the problem is for young entrepreneurs, despite the government good intentions and programs out there, how to overcome the challenge of corruption and police politicizing of the fundings. Have you had those kind of constraints in Zimbabwe?
That's quite true. And I think it's not just a Zimbabwean problem. I think it's an African problem where you've got leadership that is quite advanced. I think that's the politically correct term. Advanced in age, who are shaken by new ideas. And when they are made by new ideas and they look at opportunity that maybe perhaps these guys can make money, they want in as well. And
Absolutely.
you have to fork out. You have to fork out something to be able to get something. And as a young entrepreneur, I might have a great idea and I might be able to deliver, but I don't have the asking price to bribe. So I get access to get to the level where I need to, but for me to be given the tender or the contract, I have to pay someone and I don't have it. So corruption is still quite rife.
Yeah, I mean, it's a global issue. It's not only an African problem, it's a global issue. And like many other countries are facing the same trouble with their programs targeting youth. Thank you very much for your contribution. Stay online. Let's go back with Felicia. I hope this time around her mic will, she won't have trouble with her mic. Felicia, can you hear me? Hello? Felicia?
Hello?
Hi, can you hear us? Hi.
Yes,
Hi.
hello, I can hear you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Okay. So, I'm not sure if you heard what I said before. I'm from Trinidad and I've had a company with my partner for 3 years.
Okay.
We have operated without that was a choice on our behalf to run as autonomously as possible. The
We're very sorry, Felicia, but we cannot hear you. I just want to ask you if it's possible for you to type your contribution through the question tab. Once again, I'm really sorry, but we have trouble hearing you. Maybe there is a problem with your internet connection or the mic. So let's move on. Again, if you want to intervene, for the new people who just join us, if you want to intervene, raise your hand. As you can see on my screen, there's a little image of a hand, right hand. You can see where the mouse is. You can just click on it, and your name will come on top on my screen, and I can open your mic for you to contribute. So let's keep moving. Who else want to contribute? Dipandra. Hello, Dipandra, can you hear us? Wow.
Hello, Bernard. I have Dipendra had written down his question, so if you'd like, I could read it.
Oh,
and,
sure.
We can set it up for debate. He's asking, well, he's saying Nepal's economy highly relies on remittance, and he asks, I wanted to ask, are there any other countries where governments have facilitated to ease up remittances, and how?
Okay.
So maybe we can put that up for debate, and anyone who wants to say something on experience with that on that subject can go ahead and talk about it.
Okay. Did he or she said which country is calling from?
Yes, he's calling from Nepal.
Okay. So who want to intervene? Okay, let's go back to Rebecca. Rebecca, the floor is yours.
Yes. And well, I'd say that for the point that was made on, well, not the point, but the question that you asked on how do you measure success. For me, when I look at success, I want to see the reports, but most importantly, I want to see that when I get on the ground in Haiti, that there is some visible change. And I can say that the government of Haiti is making some positive change, and you see it in the infrastructure, the roads being built, more even public solar lighting, all these things that help attract people to businesses. And I've also had a chance to personally work with some of the ministers of in certain areas of Haiti, and I know that their passion and their love for the country, and while there is corruption, which also came up, and there is a lack of diversity as far as age goes in the government, but I've seen in Haiti that there is there's a little bit of variance in the age range, which is different than it's been in the past, and I've seen the positive changes for attracting tourism, for example, and the programs that the Ministry of Tourism has put in place, and the festivals that have been attracting the diaspora community, which in turn will help the small and medium enterprises too, because of the pull that the country is, the effort in pulling people the country's undergoing. But then again, it is, you want to see that people are able to sustain certain levels of income, and that their lives change over a sustained period of time through economic development. So that is still where I can say that there needs to be more proof of these policies changing people's lives for the better.
Yeah, obviously you're certainly right. As a young entrepreneur, you want to say that the government programs and policies has contributed to better my life in like socioeconomic terms or like in employment terms, etc. I mean, whatever you name it, does it matter to the youth? Does it bring a change about the daily life of the youth? I do believe that's a great criteria to measure success. One other problem I saw in some countries is that those kind of policies and government programs, sometimes they lack a clear objectives. For instance, like the government will have a program to support young entrepreneurs, but trying to accomplish so many objectives at the same time. And this is somehow very difficult to accomplish. For instance, if they want to like provide funding, for, target socioeconomic issues, resolve unemployment and technology, all those key objectives in one particular program, it's sometimes confusing for young entrepreneurs. I want to go back also to the question of how to avoid corruption, bribery, or how, like, what kind of innovative approaches the young entrepreneurs are finding to go around or to avoid, like, the politicizing of government fundings available. are there people who want to share their experience on that front? How do you overcome the difficulties surrounding the access to government programs and policy? Anyone to intervene? All right, let's go back to Munlo. Oh, we have someone, Kumaraguru.
Yeah. Can you hear me, Bernard?
Yes.
Bernard, it's regarding your question. Basically, it's the knowledge spread. That's the theme of your question. How, even though the policies are there and the programs are there, how people access. That's your discussion point.
Mm-hmm.
Hello.
Yeah, we can hear you. Where you calling from?
Yeah. So I'm from Sri Lanka. I represent the organization called Youth Business Sri Lanka.
Okay, go ahead.
Yes, I think it's more on the communication and how the government plans to reach, basically the policies, basically. Most of the time, the biggest problem you pointed out is the technology and the right method of communication channels are not used to reach the people. So still most of the countries are using traditional methods, like it's just put on a paper and they expect people to know. So that's one of the challenge. So whenever good things come, there should be a methodology of or the network or a communication strategy how it should reach, because now like everyone is on mobile, smartphone. So I think that kind of technology should be used, and also like the webinars and someone where they can contact people and get like voice messages, auto voicing. So I think the technology will play a crucial role on carrying on any policies and programs of government. I'm talking on much Asian content. So I think technology has a key role to play, especially when it comes to access to knowledge and information, as well as ease of doing business also.
Okay. Thank you very much. Pardon me?
Yeah, that's all from my side.
Okay. Thank you very much. Anyone else to intervene before we move to the next question? Anyone else? Constantine?
Hi, Bernard.
Yeah.
I wanted to support what the gentleman from Sri Lanka just said in terms of technology playing a key role. And also to add to that, it's not just technology, it's how you use technology. You look at the campaigns happened in Kenya a few months ago. They used technology, right? They used videos and audio notes to promote the event. But what was really crucial about that was seeing the head of government, Uhuru Kenyatta, doing a video to welcome film producers that were coming to Kenya. So this wasn't just a bill that was passed in Parliament and put in newspapers for people to see that we are supporting entrepreneurs in the film sector. It was actually seeing the head of government saying welcome to international filmmakers, telling them that they've scraped duty on film material being imported into Kenya, telling them that Kenya is open for business. I think government needs to take a personal role and an ownership in actually delivering programs for economic growth and the youth. Because investors, when they come, they want to know how the government feel about foreign investment. And yeah. as much as the piece of paper might assure them, but hearing it from the horse's mouth is quite critical.
Yeah, I do agree with that. In Africa, the continent of the best, it's one of the fast-growing continents in terms of new technology, particularly with regard to telecommunication. So any young entrepreneur doing business in Africa, 1 out of 2, they have a smartphone, particularly in my country, in Burkina Faso.
Yes.
So people have access to smartphone, and I think it will be a very smart move for governments to use the medium, the avenue of new technology to spread the message, to let people know that these are the programs out there, and these are the means you can use to have access to that. This can help like reach more people and bring also transparency, which is sometimes and somehow one of the biggest hurdle in government programs in Africa. Like the program will be there, but like only a handful of people will be aware, and the rest of the people, the so-called the rest of the people will not even have a clue of what's going on. So I do agree with your point. Communication and technology is the very smart way to move forward. So let's just wrap up this first question and try to move to the next one. Basically, I think the way the conversation is moving forward is about capacity building. Many governments are intervening in supporting young entrepreneurs in capacity building, building skills in order to implement the business ideas. Another avenue is how to streamline the business process, and also about inclusivity and put out policy out there to increase the opportunities for vulnerable and marginalized groups, particularly in Africa. I think also we discussed about the big hurdle in terms of how to, what kind of barriers governments are facing to have successful programs, and some of them are like corruptions and politics. When politics invites itself in government programs, it's a big challenge. And a way to overcome them is to use technology and communication to spread the message and bring in transparency. Great. Let's move on to the second question.
Sorry, Bernard, before we move on, I just wanted to read the input of Felicia Chang, who we couldn't, her microphone was not working. So I'll just read what she wrote.
Go ahead.
Felicia Chang from Trinidad and Tobago said, "My partner and I had a company that tells life stories for 3 years. We have operated without government support until very recently. The Trinidad and Tobago government has quite a few policies, programs, and buddies, such as the Caribbean Industrial Research Institute, Integrated Business Incubation System, set up to support entrepreneurs. They support skill/capacity building and funding, grants and low interest funds, administrative support, legal, setting up business, etc. While quite extensive and going in the right direction, they are often not that well implemented in our experience. They can also be quite redundant. We recently were awarded the Ideas to Innovation Award, and that has been good so far. The program provides both funding and support, and we are very happy with the help to date." That was Felicia's input. Thank you.
Okay, so funding. Yeah, funding is key. Hold on. Great. Let's move on to the next question. So we want to know, like as an entrepreneur or as someone working with young entrepreneurs, what kind of specific experience has triggered some kind of desire to business or shape your philosophy in terms of entrepreneurship? And more important, are there some key advices you want to share with like newcomers? So again, raise your hand and I can see, I will be able to open your mic and you can contribute. Anyone? Okay, let's go back to Rebecca. Hello, Rebecca.
Hello. Yes,
Yeah.
hello.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. Well, my response to that question is that I think that it's perseverance and resourcefulness that shapes my philosophy of entrepreneurship. The entrepreneurs that I've worked with a lot of times, and most entrepreneurs worldwide don't have access to venture capital funding or government backing and whatnot. But they have a dream, they have this idea, and they figure out a way to get it off the ground, and they don't accept obstacles in their way. So they find a way to conquer them, circumvent them through their resources, their resourcefulness. So that's what I'd say is my entrepreneurial philosophy.
Perseverance.
Yes.
Great. Anyone else? Oh, Ezekiel. Mr. Ezekiel. Hello? Ezekiel, can you hear me?
Yes, yes, I'm hearing you. Hello.
Okay. We're listening to you.
Okay. So, good morning, everybody. This is Ezekiel speaking from DC, but originally from Burkina Faso.
Okay.
Okay. So, my entrepreneurial philosophy is patient. Patient because for me, I mean, everything come about patience. When you are patient for entrepreneur, you can overcome all the difficulties. I mean, you can go through many and many experiences, but without patience, you cannot go further away. I mean, you have to reach, you have a goal, and you have this patience that drives you, and you can go through all those problems and, I mean, times, and you can already have this idea to overcome and to succeed. And for me, I mean, from my experience, this has been very important for me to succeed as an entrepreneur. I mean, I've started creating business when I was in school. I mean, my big business just after university. 3 years after, I was in many troubles, so I went back and worked for somebody else as an employee for 3 years. And after I came back with my idea, with other ideas of entrepreneurship, and finally I make it. So for me, this passion is really important. Whether you have support from government or not, support from your family or not, support from your friends or not, if you really want to be an entrepreneur, you can overcome everything and you can make it. So my philosophy is patient. Whatever you are doing, yes. Patient to have an idea, I mean to find a solution in the world when you can see a problem, finding a solution, and saving people with that solution. So it's
Thank you very
patient
much.
top slipper. Yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Ezekiel. I do believe patience and perseverance, as Rebecca was saying, goes hand in hand. Because sometimes, like, we want to start a business and we have this great idea and like we want to have success like next month. Sorry, that's not possible. In so many countries, like you have to overcome so many barriers to start your business. And if you're not perseverant, if you don't have patience, it will be very, very difficult. Unless someone want to challenge the two views. Munlo, what do you have to say about patience and perseverance?
Oh, hello. Yes, when I put up the hand, I just wanted to share that our group's responses that had come up in our discussion.
Okay.
Patience and perseverance did come up. But it was a bit, we added a little bit. We said that we would advise fellow entrepreneurs to be more realistic and cautious with their financial expectations, particularly not abandoning their jobs right away, and also trying to avoid debt financing, because sometimes your hopes can be, or what you anticipate may not be realistic. So try to be cautious in that area. And also would say, also encourage them to build networks of like-minded people, because those are the people that can help you find solutions when you're stuck, and they can also help motivate you to keep going when you're worn out and disappointed that you're not as rich as you thought you would be, or you haven't done as much as you wanted. And lastly, really quickly, what has shaped our entrepreneurial philosophy has been a desire for financial freedom, yes, but also our perceived responsibility to and ability to contribute towards the advancement of our society. I think overall, all of us felt that entrepreneurship is a way that we can help improve our societies, and in finding great solutions, we can also reach some economic benefits too. We don't see the two as being contradictory. We think that they're quite well aligned. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, you made a very good point. How to be like realistic in terms of expectation, particularly for funding. And I do believe, like the keywords that is coming from the first question to the second one is funding. Like many young entrepreneurs, they face very big, like a big mountain of hurdles to have access to funding. So let me challenge you a little bit on that. Like, let's pretend I'm a banker and you guys are the entrepreneurs. Why will I loan money to someone without a track record of successful business experience? Why will I give it my money? Because obviously I see potential risk for the young entrepreneur not to pay me back. Why will I give you money to start your business? Anyone to challenge me on that point? Felicia? Hello, Felicia?
Oh, hi.
Can you hear me?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear
you. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. So can
Hello?
for
Can you hear me?
rather than the banker question? Can you hear me?
I think we have a little bit of trouble with your internet connection. It's cutting. Your voice is cutting. Maybe, I'm very sorry. Maybe you can write down your contribution for Jose to read it out loud. Let's give the floor to Dale. Dale, can you hear me? Nope, you can't. Geoffrey. Geoffrey. Geoffrey, I think you self-muted yourself, so it's not possible for me to open your mic. All right. Let's go back to Dale. Dale, can you hear me?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. How are you?
Fine.
Yes. Let me just introduce myself. My name is Dale Trotman. I am the CEO of a health tech company in Barbados called MedRegis. We're looking to bring electronic solutions to ambulatory care facilities here in Barbados and throughout the region. As it relates to the question of what experiences have shaped my entrepreneurial philosophy, well, I'm currently a solo founder, so I'm just the only founder within MedRegis, and I find that a lot of, especially when you look at accelerators and incubators and investors, not all of them, but a good few of them don't really consider solo founders. But the same way I say that people say you have to have a co-founder, because if you look, it goes down to determination. It's not, to me, it's not really if it's 1, 2, or 10 people, it's how determined the person is to getting the company started. And that, to me, has been driving my philosophy and my experiences to get MedRegis off the ground, because at the end of the day, you could have 2 people and they're not determined, it's not going to succeed. You could have 1 person that's determined and it can succeed. Same way also, we put emphasis on having teams. Not that I'm not saying that you should not have a team, but the same way we put emphasis on having 2 people. The same way you could have 2 people, those 2 people could also end up failing. So why is it that 2 people, that we put so much emphasis on having 2 people for success, when in many cases, when you look at the accelerators and incubators states, a lot of these things fail? But why can't a single person succeed? Or we put that same emphasis, and there's a lot of examples throughout the world of solo founders, even in technology, that have started companies that have evolved into leading companies. Because at the end of the day, it's about your idea, application, and determination. Whether it's 1 or 2 people, because you might find 1 person doing more. You might find a solo co-founder putting in as much work as if he had another person, because he's determined to get the job done, to get out to his customers, to get out to his clients. So I don't think put too much judgment based on how much people are in the team, but we should be looking at the determination of the individual, and not only that, the traction that they have succeeded with so far in getting their venture off the ground and getting to customers and so on.
Okay, thank you very much. I mean, I hear you correctly. For you, partnership is not always the right way to go, as in terms of like starting a business. You can have a failing partnership, and you can have solo people who have like the drive to like get their idea started and like keep running, keep going. So determination is very important. But I still come back to my question. Like Rebecca and Ezekiel talk about perseverance and patience, right? And we all know that one of the biggest problems for young entrepreneurs is access to finance. So why will banks give the money to young entrepreneurs who sometimes lacks the experience to back the claim for money, to back the loan demands? So do you have like ideas of how young entrepreneurs should go to like overcome those kind of challenges? I do want someone to intervene on that front. Let's see. James, can you hear me? Okay, James, you self-muted your mic. So it's difficult for me to open your mic. Rebecca?
Yes. Well, I think the biggest thing that entrepreneurs need to do is they can set a track record. And I remember reading somewhere, it's you start from business to business. So you can start something very small. Call it suppose it's a lemon stand. You start something with a small amount of resource, grow it, and then you can close that enterprise up and invest it into something else. And for chess, I can say in our fundraising, I remember the days when we started selling chocolate to raise some money to get our mission started, and then we graduated into scarves that raised some more money, and then now we've graduated into other products that are giving us some more money, and we've gone after the grants and whatnot, and we still find it difficult to get people to open doors to what we're trying to do as far as funding, but it's fine because it's exciting to us that we can find other businesses to get ourselves into to raise the money for the programming that we provide in Haiti. And I just say it's that persistence again, and just starting small, not being afraid to start small, and build up the reputation for yourself, and then be able to show that to financiers, and they will eventually support you. And I think it's also networks as well. You do have to put yourself out there in a way, so that means go to the conferences where these people will be. It may cost you some, but it's worth to put yourself before them in a way, like present yourself and present your ideas, and it may not be that first time you attend, it may be the second time, and continue to build your network and build your reputation, so that people that have access to them will at some point in the future speak on your behalf.
Okay, so I will pick up one key point you said. Do not be afraid to start small. Sometimes we have a great idea, but the best way to go is to start at a small scale and progressively scale it up, right? And I find it interesting also your experience of moving from business to business. Start business A to land on business B in order to achieve business C. That's a great, wonderful way to go. Again, if you're not patient, that will be very difficult to achieve. Let me give the floor to James and then to Ezekiel. James, can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Morning, everybody. I was just sharing in terms of, to answer your question, one, I want to believe that having a well-written business plan goes a very long way in terms of financing. As a president of my former credit union, I would have seen a lot of business plans come in from a lot of young, and even not just young, but even existing entrepreneurs who are trying to either refinance or even get started up. And the problem is that a lot of them don't have well-written plans as to how, for example, is the credit union going to get its money back, or why should we give them the money to begin with? Mm-hmm. And to add to that, in terms of the advice that I would give, the topic we're talking on, I mentioned in the chat that for example, not all businesses is for everyone. In that, some people go into business for different reasons. Some going to make money, be their own boss. Some want free time, and sometimes the businesses that you may start up or you may like may not be necessarily be the best fit for you. And just the advice to entrepreneurs: nothing is wrong with closing down a business unless they're starting. Because I used to have a business where I was selling phones, made tons of money, but the problem was that it was just taking up too much of my time. Every 2 minutes I was on call, people wanted something every minute, and it was just too much for me, and it wasn't necessarily the right match for what I was looking for in terms of entrepreneurship. So I ended up wrapping that up, even though it was profitable and successful. I ended up starting up another marketing business that gave me more free time to do what I actually wanted to do, which was why I started business in the first place. I wanted to have more free time.
Okay, I hear you, and one of your point is not all business are for everyone. The problem I often see also is that the people don't carefully assess the reason why they want to start a business. Yes. And in some area, in some part of the world, it may be a problem of survival. We want to escape poverty or want to escape unemployment. So we're ready to start anything that can like help us overcome the daily hurdle of our lives. So it's really challenging to like, for instance, in my country, Burkina Faso, like at the beginning of the telephone, the smartphone, the telecommunication, so many young made a lot of money and started business in telecommunications. But they won't say, this is not right for me because it's bringing them money. So I just want to say that sometimes survival strategy can like lead us to take on anything as long as we can make ends meet or we can have like money. But you made a very good point in terms of like having a comprehensive and clear writing business plan. Ezekiel, do you want to challenge us on that? Ezekiel, can you hear me?
Yes, I'm hearing. Yes, I had 2 points, but yes, really the first was the last one is on the quality of the business plan. Really, I mean, many business plans are not well written. Well written, that means you really have a business plan because it's a terms of, I mean, a matter of perspective. We are talking about future. That means it's not reality now. When you are talking about future, we need to have good plan. Good plans come from your records, what have been done before, and what do you have right now, on what do you count, and you can have perspective. That means you really assess the market, you assess yourself, and you assess, I mean, the demand and the coming demand, the future demand. So you can have a kind of a good stream of what's coming on, and you can convince someone else. But the matter is convincing, and I mean, this is the heart of entrepreneurship. We are not talking about, I mean, investing. We are talking about entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship means you don't have money, right? That's fine. You don't have money, you are an entrepreneur. But you have to get that money. So in order to get that money, you gotta have a good business plan. You gotta have assess yourself, your business, and the solution you want to provide. So you can really convince someone else. If you cannot convince someone else, that means maybe there's something wrong with your idea or your project or yourself. Okay. So, and I just want to take starting a little is starting small is very good idea. You can have like a prototype of your business. I can just talk about one business in my country in Bobojula. So the guy just started with a hotel of 10 rooms, and after buying the place around the hotel and go to 30 rooms, and now it's 70 rooms, and it's a quite big hotel. But starting from 10 rooms, now 70 rooms. So starting small and growing. The key word here is growing. Yes, growing, good business plan. Yes. I mean, assess everything in order to have a better plan and start small and growing.
Okay.
We succeed.
Thank you very much. I hear you, Ezekiel and James. You talk about the necessity to have a well-written business plan. But keep in mind also that many people across the globe, quote unquote, they are illiterate, or they will have very big language barrier to write a business plan and to submit it to a banker in the formal sector. So many young entrepreneurs across Africa are intervening in the informal sector. And more often, those people don't have access to, or like they can't write their own business plan. So that's a very big challenge. So I don't know if anyone has like an idea to address that. I want to go back to Jose. Do you have questions? Some questions to read out?
Yes.
For people
I want to read some comments on the questions tab. We have some people that their microphones are not working, so they've written down their contributions, and I would like to read something that Felicia Chang wrote. She's from Trinidad and Tobago, and she says, "Key advice I would give is to be prepared to work very hard. I think that often entrepreneurship can be very romanticized, especially recently. A lot of what we do takes determination and hard work. I agree totally with the previous responses of perseverance, resourcefulness, excuse me. This is extremely important to find creative solutions, a determination to do good through business. I think you also have to have humility and a deep thirst for knowledge. Be very willing to learn and to surround yourself with like-minded people. Be very long-sighted and choose your alliances and mentors wisely." Also, Jeffrey Mullet, he says, regarding something you said, Bernard, he says, "I see what you mean, Bernard, and yes, I do think it's possible to leverage finance for startups that are not yet running. Kiva has built a model for startups to acquire financing and using peer-to-peer reviews as the security. Banks can use this model and open POC to even help startups to scale." Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jose. Anyone else to get back to the second question with a contribution? Mary Joki.
Yes. Should I go ahead?
Yes, please.
Okay. Sure. My name is Mary Njoki. I'm calling from Kenya. I run a company called Glasshouse PR Limited, and I am a young entrepreneur at the age of 26. I like what was shared before, that you start small and go bigger. I started my company with $60, and what I think we should do, especially probably in Africa, we should just, I don't think the money is a bigger issue. I think it's just taking advantage of the resources that we have. Somebody had given me a laptop, so what I did is I used my laptop, bought a modem that could give me data bandwidth, with the $60, and I had some knowledge in IT, so I created a free website, using the free templates available online. I went to social media and I started marketing my business and the services that I offer. So I think the bigger issue is not the finances. The bigger issue is taking advantage of the resources that are around us. And I started the business at the age of 23. 3 years later, of course, I have to reinvent. I have to keep being relevant and looking around and seeing the trends in the sector that I am in. So I believe it's of course good to be patient, to be resilient, to be tenacious, especially as an entrepreneur, but take advantage of the resources available. I think internet and technology it's easier for us, especially in this generation or in this time. It's easier for an entrepreneur to grow their businesses taking advantage of the internet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me ask you this question. Let's pretend the president of Kenya calls you tomorrow.
Yes.
To ask for 3 main advice.
Yes.
You can provide 3 main advice for young entrepreneurs in Kenya.
Yes.
To be successful. What will you say?
I think number one is you should take advantage of the resources available, because we have internet and which is available at a cheaper. It's cheap to use internet. Number two, we should be resilient, tenacious, and make sure we keep reinventing ourselves. For us to remain relevant as an entrepreneur, you have to keep reinventing yourself. Number three is just to create systems and products that will go beyond our generation. We still talk about 24, we still talk about those people. We need to have such a mind that we are solution giver and we give a solution that will outlive us.
Okay.
Yes. Start small, think big, and grow fast.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Wow. She started her business with $60. To go back to Rebecca's point and Ezekiel and so many, don't be ashamed or afraid to start small and then scale up and grow. Keep growing, and reinvent yourself to remain what's called it relevant. Anyone else to provide us with some advice? Let's go to Munlo. Munlo, can you hear me?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, give us 3 main advice you will provide to young entrepreneurs.
To young entrepreneurs, okay.
Yes.
I have to apologize a little bit because when I put up my hand, I was putting it up for that question you asked about the banks.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Sorry. The reason I wanted to talk to that was because I'd worked a little bit on a consultancy where we were looking at access to financing for rural and groups. And actually, there are a lot of parallels drawn in that because I feel as though the reason a bank would want to do that is because small businesses are driving a lot of African economies. And so I think there is an incentive for them there. But I also think that in order to take advantage of the opportunity that exists there, they have to be more innovative in their delivery. So for example, a lot of them will talk about collateral or they don't have collateral and things like that. But some of the solutions that have come up for rural financing are money alternatives, where you don't necessarily have to give someone money to help their business. You can help them purchase machinery, or you can find alternatives to just giving money. Another thing, another technique that's been used is grouping. They used to have women groups in the rural areas where these women would self-select a group, and they would apply as a group. And like most people have said, you start off small. You start off with small grants, and then you allow them to build a sort of a credit history through that group. And I think that the nice thing with allowing people to self-select is you get like-minded people. So you get young entrepreneurs that are like-minded to have a group and have that collective responsibility, where it's not just the burden of the bank to follow up, but they also holding each other accountable. I think that's another option. And also, I think it has to be holistic. Don't just give money away, but also you can support young entrepreneurs by providing mentorship and business trainings to ensure to increase your own chances of getting your investment back. And then last point, just really quickly, is we were talking about people that are in entrepreneurship to survive, and the thing that came up that's not as nice as we'd like to be, but I think you also have to recognize between those people that you can provide loans to and there's people that you can't. So what ended up happening is people tried to give loans to as many people as possible, but you do have to be you have to be critical. You have to look at the person's potential to pay back, because there's some people, if they're trying to survive, what they need is a grant. They don't need a loan because they just they're not at that stage yet where they can focus on trying to earn a living and repay back a loan. Most likely that it'll be very hard for them to pay it back. So those are just some of the points I wanted to raise. Yeah.
Great. Those are wonderful alternative to, innovative collaterals, because more often, again, number one issue is funding, and so many young entrepreneurs doesn't have like key success history to back the loan claim. So you came up with like some really innovative collateral, and I want to ask if there are people out there who want to share like also innovative or alternative collateral. Let's go back to our friend of Sri Lanka, Kamaraguru. What say you?
Hi, Murder. Can you
We're
hear me?
listening. Yes.
Yeah. This is, I just put the hands for the three advisors on what you asked before. What the three advice you can give it to the government or for the entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
Basically, one is like here everyone talk about the initial stages of growing and everything, but there's a point entrepreneur face something called a growth wall. I think everyone, it's a technical term, but it's basically like an entrepreneur has to turn into a sort of a manager or a CEO. Because when he starts, he's the marketer, he's the manager, he's the supply chain guy, he's the innovator and everything. So there's a time he has to step back and look and puts proper resource people to manage his business. So that is something all the entrepreneurs should look at when they are growing, when they are establishing themselves. And I think the second thing is looking for their right mentors, because I feel even though you're unique and you're driven by passion, there is a point you always look for experts' advice or someone's to motivate you, or someone who has already been in the business to show the way. So finding the right mentor is something very crucial.
Okay.
And I think the third and the final is the ability to bounce back. I think people pointed it out, like you may face failures, but the ability and the power to bounce back into your thing is quite important. That is, I think, a entrepreneur, even if he starts as well as if he also in the process of growing. So because failures would be very common in entrepreneurship. So these three are the advice like I would like to give for the entrepreneurs.
Okay, I think we touched. I think you touched a nail of the point in terms of the ability to bounce back. And I do want to second Felicia, who was like explaining that nowadays entrepreneurship somehow is romanticized. People present entrepreneurship like suddenly the magic bullet to overcome unemployment, develop countries, etc., etc., etc. We have to be realistic, and let's face it, somehow we will have to deal with failure. One example I used to give to people is like, there is no other country like in the United States, like the United States in terms of like entrepreneurs, ideas, new idea, etc., etc. But more often, the media, mass media, and like even in business school, they will put forth the case of people who have succeeded, right? But behind every success, there are tons of failures. So we really need to like be realistic and keep on going, keep on trying. So I do believe you made a very good point in the ability to bounce back and try again. Never give up. Let's give the floor to Dujon. Dujon, can you hear me? I don't see him. Dujon? Oh, his mic is self-muted. Sorry.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, go ahead.
Yes, I actually wanted to just respond to the question you gave about the banks.
Okay.
When a bank should invest in a young entrepreneur who doesn't seem to have too much experience.
Please do.
What I think is that what I think the world is lacking, and we could look to the United States as a model for that. Is a strong venture capital organization or venture capital in general. Because in Silicon Valley and these other areas, you have persons who come up with genius ideas, but don't necessarily have money.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, there is a facility in place to invest in these businesses. Look at Facebook and all these other companies. I mean, there are people who have come up with equally successful or equally great companies in the Caribbean or in Africa, but don't have the facility. So I think that banks should allot at least $1 million to $2 million just for venture capital. So I mean, you know, hey, we might lose this money investing in 20 entrepreneurs, but at least one of the time, it's like planting seeds. One of these entrepreneurs is going to be successful, and thereby we could then create a revolving fund. So every successful entrepreneur then puts money back into that fund. So I believe that we should nurture venture capital and basically nurture entrepreneurship. I mean, we're encouraging people to go into it, but there's no system of support.
Yeah.
So that's my contribution.
Yeah, thank you very much. Basically, what you're saying is like banks should be willing to like take big risks, right? Try to find out like a pool of entrepreneurs and pour money on them, and at least 1, 2, 3 will succeed, and hopefully the reward will cover the losses of the other one, right?
Right.
Okay. Thank you very much. Jose, do you have some comments or contribution to read out loud?
Yes, we have the contribution of Prosper Dutonyekumana, and he or she writes, among experiences that shaped our beneficiaries' entrepreneurial philosophy, I can say, not being discouraged by failures, just the fact that to any business venture undertaken will not always run like you planned in your business plan means that you have to be patient and perseverant till you reach your goals. That was really good. And also we had an input from Felicia Chang, who wanted to answer or wanted to give her input also on the banker's question. And she says, you have to be creative and support yourself in other ways in the beginning, e.g. self-funding, trading resources such as skills with others to get the job done, to create a concept that can prove your idea is viable, enter contests persistently. And she also says that you have to do something to create some sort of track record or vote of confidence. Even if it's small, be clear about your growth strategy and show how you are making steps towards that. Your references and professional reputation are very important and can help with getting funding, especially in countries that are still developing, that have non-linear systems and higher levels of illiteracy.
Okay. Thank you very much, Jose. I think we're going to wrap up this, the contribution of this second question and move on to the last one. Basically, my takeaway is that people should, number one, start small. Okay? Start small and scale up your business expansion. Start small. Don't be afraid to start small. And as Mary pointed out, she gave an example. She started with $60, and she kept reinventing her business to remain relevant. But second point is to be resilient, patient, and keep persevering, keep trying, because obviously we'll face a lot of hurdles, a lot of barriers, but this should not deter us from dreaming. Let's keep trying, because we will meet some big hurdle, but this is not the end of the day. We should keep trying. And the third point is funding, how to come up with innovative ideas to have access to funding. The main point for me is to start with, to take advantage of what is in our environment, take advantage of the available resources around you. Number two is to come up with alternative or innovative collaterals to demonstrate to banks that your idea worth trying or investing. And as James explained, we need a well-written business plan to demonstrate that we will be able to pay back the money. So well-written business plan, a good quality business plan can also help convince. And finally, banks also should try out the venture capitalist experiment in the United States. So great, let's move on to the last question. And this one will be, I mean, it's pretty easy, right? So what kind of contribution young entrepreneurs can bring to prosperity and growth in your country? I want it will help us if you can be very specific in terms of the nature of the contribution. So yeah. Who wanna try? As always, let's give the floor to Rebecca. Rebecca, can you hear me?
Okay, thanks. I really think that entrepreneurs can contribute to growth and shared prosperity, which I really like the way the question is phrased, shared prosperity, because it's important that entrepreneurs, especially the young generation, our generation, are looking to start conscious businesses. And when I say conscious business, that means businesses that have a purpose. And I think it was Ezekiel that talked about solving problems. So we want to and I think it was also, other than Ezekiel, it was Munlo, I believe, that talked about serving society through the businesses, because our businesses really do need to look for the problems and solve these problems viably, and then while solving these problems viably, providing value for multiple stakeholders and not just looking at one stakeholder, which is in the recent decades has been just the shareholder. We need to make sure we're prospering everyone, which includes the employees, the customers, the communities. Everyone's getting a value from what we're offering, and by looking to provide value for everyone, I think that's the best way that we can contribute.
Okay, so basically, you want the main contribution you see is like new businesses should focus on like rewarding multiple stakeholders, and not only focus on shareholders, but like focus on like government, environmentalists, and employees, and society, community, like all the stream of stakeholders who have a say in the business, right?
Yes.
Anyone to challenge Rebecca on that? Mary.
For me, I just wanted to give a straight answer. I think we are contributing in that we are able to meet one of the post-millennium goals, that is the elimination of poverty, by creating more jobs and empowering people in the community. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So poverty alleviation and employment.
Yes.
Okay. Thanks a lot. Let's give the floor to Dijon. Dijon? Dijon, can you hear me? Dijon, we can't hear you. Hello?
Yes, good day.
Yeah, now we can hear you.
Yes. I actually didn't raise my hand up for this one, but...
Oh, okay. Sorry then.
No, that's fine. How can young entrepreneurs contribute to growth and prosperity in the... I mean, in a lot of, as somebody said earlier, a lot of economic development and coming out of recessions have been driven by small businesses. So we know how they contribute. I think the question should have been, how can we help them contribute? Because everybody can contribute in terms of entrepreneurship and innovation. like I said, the issue is access to finance. I mean, some industries have lower barriers to entry than others. So whereas the young lady who spoke about Kenya could have started a business with $60, that's one type of business. But there are persons who have, let's say, who want to go into an outcare patient center or something of the sort. I mean, you can't start that at $60. You need outside investors, and it may be a genius idea, but at that point, the problem would be access to financing and venture capital. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great point. Not all businesses can start with a small amount of money, right? In terms of investment. Depending on the nature of business, you may need to have access to big capital to get started, right? So your point is we should ask how to help young entrepreneurs to create value and growth, right? Okay.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, thanks a lot. Let's give the floor to Eliza James. James, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay, go ahead.
To answer the question, how can young entrepreneurs contribute? I believe just by even starting business is the way to go. The thing about it, the big challenge that we have, both in the Caribbean, even in my home country, and across the world, is the fact that you have a lot of persons, young people, leaving school. You pretty much have an imbalance where you have more employees than entrepreneurs. So there's not enough jobs to be able to give everybody or get everybody employed. So I think in terms of helping young entrepreneurs, we need to probably look at implementing both the issue with venture capitalism and also even teaching entrepreneurship in the classroom, so that at least when you, because in our region, what tends to happen in the education system, you're taught to go to school, get an education so you can get a good job that pays you a lot of money, and a lot of people are coming out into the real world realizing that that isn't quite the the white picket fence as it is. And so I think what needs to happen is that there needs to be a drive or push in terms of the curriculum or in the education system, just to prepare young people to understand that starting jobs or starting up businesses is a viable opportunity for employment for themselves, and at the same time providing employment for other young people and other people altogether across the world. So in terms of being able to contribute, I think we need to nurture and again put in place the support systems as the previous speakers spoke about, like the venture capitalism, the support for writing business plans, etc., so that young people can actually just start businesses to begin with. Because once we start having more businesses, more ideas being pushed forward, finance, then we can start seeing a change in terms of the prosperity and even the employment around the world with young people altogether.
Okay, thanks a lot, James. I think you made a very good point in terms of the problem of education. More often in our countries, the education system is designed to poor people who will look for jobs. The curriculum is not designed to teach people how to create businesses, how to start their own business idea. So that is a fundamental macro or policy problem to fix. And it will be great if countries can start thinking of introducing business courses, maybe at the high school level or at the university level. Train people to create also businesses as opposed to look for jobs. Thanks a lot, James, for this contribution. Let's give the floor to Anwar. Anwar, can you hear me? Anwar? Nope, his mic is self-muted. Anwar, can you hear me? Nope.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi. Okay, I think my 2 cents to this conversation is, putting the spotlight on the young entrepreneurs is key. I think a lot of the conversation is referring to how, we can help young entrepreneurs, how can we change the policy and curriculum. But also I believe, having such a huge number of young population, not just in Bangladesh, but also across the world. I think they are the future. They are the actors and leaders of the community, and they are the, agents of change. So I think, they already have been looking into our most pressing challenges of the time, problems around, access to education, access to health, access to quality, for example, social protection like insurance.
We're losing you. Hello? We lost him. Okay, hopefully he will be able to come back. Anwar, we have a problem with your mic. Please write your contribution to the question box and Jose will read it for us. Let's go back to Sri Lanka. Kamaraguru, can you hear us?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. My point here is what are the determinators of when we are saying growth and shared prosperity? So it can be defined on each country's context or continental wise and everything. But my point, which I try to stress here, is young entrepreneurs have a huge responsibility with all the problems created before them by their seniors or anything. So I am much concerned on how ethical are young entrepreneurs, because ethical entrepreneurship is very crucial for all the countries nowadays. So they have to take notice of everything: environment, the carbon print, human rights, everything. So it's not just growing a business nowadays. It has gone more than just making money or profits or just development in prosperity terms. I mean financial. It's more on ethics and values now it has come. So I think young entrepreneurs should contribute their energy and their prosperity on the future of a good world, like being example for their next generation, as well as like cleaning up also sometimes the mess created by their pioneers. So entrepreneurship has to take a new turn on ethics. So that's my point of view on this.
Let me challenge you on that point with Rebecca as well. If I'm a young entrepreneur in my country, and again we talk about the various reasons why people start a business, and one of them is the burden of trying to survive, trying to I'm facing like for instance, if someone doesn't have a job and want to start a business, or someone like having like economic or financial issues and want to start a business, do you believe that people in that circumstance will have the time or the willingness to like be ethical and like solve all the problems of the world, as opposed to like focus on what kind of business can bring them money right now, today, tomorrow?
I think they should and they will have, because they are the people who have suffered by all the unethical practices in the world. That's why they are facing poverty, corruption, or everything. So I think they are the people should have a much ethical approach than a guy with all the facilities and everything. Why I am saying is because I work in a country where we are straight away coming out of a conflict. So I have experienced these entrepreneurs who are there, they don't have the next meal, are much more ethical sometimes than a guy who's working in the capital, who's only looking on profits sometimes. So from my personal experience, they are ethical, and the survival is not losing your values, no. So in the end of the day, survival is you believe in something special in you, so that's why you want to live. It's not fulfilling someone else's need, it's fulfilling your need, and it's something okay, if you survive, you're going to contribute something, or you're going to do something either to your immediate family or for the society or for the nation. So I
Okay.
think we should also, there's like mentors or elders should also put that seeds in these young entrepreneurs.
My takeaway from what you just said is this: survival doesn't mean lose your value. I think this is a powerful message that we should take across the world. Anyone else? Jose, do you have a contribution or questions to ask from the question?
Yes, of course. We
Okay.
have two contributions. The first one is from Felicia Chang from Trinidad and Tobago, and she says, I think a huge potential contribution is philosophical, to show that we can do good business. We can make profit by doing good. Every aspect of your business should be with the goal to do good, not just your final product. We need to design businesses that build local capacity, are environmentally friendly, socially conscious, etc. at every level, from the way you manage your staff to the way you create your product. We started our business with $0, just a desire to tell indigenous stories. Almost as a stroke of luck, we worked with a friend who was in film school, and that film made it to the Trinidad and Tobago Film Festival. We try our best to always use resources that are local or support other small businesses. E.g., our other director is Ugandan, and we just recently used handcrafted banana paper from a small community in northern Uganda for our packaging. It is not always the easiest path, but I think if many young entrepreneurs fully integrate these sorts of perspectives as they build their businesses, we can change our world dramatically for the better. That was a great input from Felicia, and
Okay.
I would also like to mention the contribution from Prosper, Duton Yekulmana, and
Okay.
he says, my name is Prosper. I work for Youth Employment Systems in Rwanda, and he says young entrepreneurs should willingly pay taxes when their businesses are successful. This will reduce social inequality and contribute to growth and shared prosperity. Governments should also put in place incentives to help startups, and for example, tax holidays. And he also says young entrepreneurs should develop and implement businesses that can employ as much people as possible, youth, women, PWDs included. Thank you.
Okay, thanks a lot, Jose. Talking about taxes, I just want to share a little experience in my home country, Burkina Faso. We did a study, local economic study in like key cities across the country. And what we found out is that small businesses, people working in the informal sector, very small businesses, they're paying more taxes compared to big formal businesses. That was amazing. Like if you take a city like the city of Bobo Dioulasso, this biggest city in the country, half of the revenue of the city comes from small businesses. That's incredible. So to the point of our friend of Rwanda, like small businesses, one of the way they contribute to like prosperity and growth is by paying taxes. Government don't always acknowledge that, but it's worth mentioning. Okay, let's go back to the discussion, the question. Yeah, I do want someone to challenge me on that. We're talking about ethical business. Start something that is ethical. And again, when you have the pressure of starting a business to succeed, when you have a pressure or like when you don't have money and you want to launch your business idea, do you have time to pay attention to philosophical thinking like Felicia of Trinidad just mentioned, or a friend from Sri Lanka just said, have an ethical approach? Do you believe that we can, there's a way to conciliate the two competing interests? I mean, if they're competing. Someone to like, Rebecca, will you challenge me on that?
Yes, I do. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk about this. This summer, Chess was in Haiti, and we hosted a training session for women entrepreneurs with varied literacy levels, and they are the micro business owners, and we talked about conscious business approach and looking at all of the stakeholders. And these women were able to quickly identify who their stakeholders are, their varied stakeholders, the people that can impact their businesses and the people that they in turn impact, and tangibly identify, well, how can, in my little venture right now, I can provide more value for them. And there's research that proves that by providing value, by finding ways to benefit these different stakeholders, you increase your rate your survival rate, your chances of making more money, of growing your business, and then not only do you increase your chances of growing your business and becoming more successful because you're including everyone in this journey of success, but you also increase the resiliency of the businesses when uncontrollable factors happen, like it could be an economic downturn or it could be a storm. There are stories of businesses that, because their customers and their other stakeholders came to love them so much, they might have, the business might have been at the brink of bankruptcy, but they pooled together money to save the business or whatnot. So that's a result of running an ethical or conscious business.
Yeah, I guess my question is this, Rebecca. Governments are facing more and more challenge to have big businesses comply with the interests of other stakeholders, as opposed to they're focused only on shareholders' values, but they tend to forget other shareholders, right? So is it fair for governments to ask small and young entrepreneurs to have an ethical approach in starting businesses, knowing that they have a lot of issues in terms of having access to finance, et cetera, to start the business, and you have big businesses who have all the money, all the means they want to run their business, but yet governments are facing huge problem to get them be quote-unquote ethical. Do you think it's fair to ask young entrepreneurs to focus on ethical approach?
I don't think it's even a question in my mind whether it's fair. I think it's right, and it's what we should be. It shouldn't even be a question. And maybe the question for me is, making sure that both, how to ensure that both small and large business alike are being ethical, and that we're rewarding these behaviors.
Okay, great. Thanks a lot, Rebecca. I think we're going to take one or two more points before we wrap up all those three questions and try to move on. Anyone to contribute? Let's give the floor to Monlo. Monlo, can you hear me?
Yes. Hi. So just on that question, we had answered that young entrepreneurs can contribute to society through continuous self-improvement and commitment to fulfilling their social responsibility. When we talk about self-improvement, we talk about educating yourself and also informing yourself about the issues in society. because you can't just wait for government to create the right curriculum for you. One good example from my home country, Malawi, is if you Google the boy who harnessed the wind, there's a story about a young Malawian who dropped out of school because his parents couldn't afford to send him there in the rural area. And he kept going to the library, and his family had a problem with electricity. So he researched how to make a windmill, and he actually made a windmill out of old parts. And then after that, he got a scholarship and went to study abroad. But now, just talking about this idea of ethics in business is quite interesting, because I was doing a paper on clean business in Africa. And yes, I think initially in the past, people used to think of a business as a separate entity from society, saying its only responsibilities to its stakeholders to make money. But I think the movement has been that people are recognizing that businesses operate within a society. You can't really separate the two, because who do they employ? And so I think in 2011 there was a paper written on something called creating shared value. And they were saying that the way we look at businesses, in fact, isn't correct, because we look at it as if making money is in contradiction, or is opposed to being socially responsible. And they were saying that that's not the case. Even if you look at, let's say, the environment, companies used to look at being environmentally conscious as a burden, but a lot of companies have saved a lot of money by being more environmentally cautious, wasting less. One specific example they gave was Walmart. They said they saved around $200 million by changing their routing systems to reduce the amount of carbon emission and reducing their packaging. So I think we have to look at it long term. I think if you talk about, you have to be ethical in business, because in the long run, those costs are there. Those costs don't go anywhere. And if businesses are doing things to help the communities, to help spread education, to help spread opportunities, then they have a better workforce, they have better customers. And this is especially true in Africa, because they talk about a growing middle class. The growing markets of the world are coming from developing countries. If you don't empower those communities, then you're reducing your own market. So I think there's a strong link between ethics and business, and it's almost a mistake to separate the two.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot for these wonderful contribution. Yeah, you raised the point of the share value approach proposed by Michael Porter on how to run business successfully. And you made a wonderful point saying that business is not a separate entity of society. And so the need to focus on ethical approach still remain valid. Okay, I think we'll take one more person and then we'll wrap up. Mary, do you want to say something? Mary?
Yes, sure.
Okay.
Just to conclude, I go ahead?
Yeah, we're listening to you.
Okay. Just to conclude, number one, I just wanted to mention that I think the biggest challenge for entrepreneurs is to get to the market. And what I meant that, I started my business with $60 because I could be able to reach to the market using the internet, and where I am 3 years later, when I want to expand, of course I need funding. But when you approach the bank or the investor or, whoever you approach, they want to see a track record. So I think as entrepreneurs, we need to create that either track record and to show them what you've done by yourself, before they can trust you with the funds that you need. The other thing in Kenya, when you start your business, they usually exempt you from paying taxes in the first year. So they give you a certificate from the Kenya Revenue Authority, which says you're exempted from tax. So I don't know about other countries, but in Kenya, we are given that certificate. Yeah.
That's wonderful. It's a kind of tax credit, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Great. Jose, do you have some comments or questions?
Well, we have some really interesting points of view and inputs. What I would like this time is to invite everyone to share not only their inputs but also pictures of their participation. They can take pictures of themselves and they have participating, and you can send it to us because we will take all this material and compile it into a video that we will be showing at the annual meetings in Peru. So one would be if you could share with us at our YBT email, which is info@ybt.net, and you can send your pictures there. Or you can also please send us videos of you talking about the questions, and this should be a short video, 1 or 2 minutes, it's enough, about you talking about these questions and giving your opinion about these. And we will take this material and the World Bank will edit it into a video that we will show at the annual meetings. So regarding the video, it would be great if you could upload it to Vimeo. This is a web page that's similar to YouTube, but it's called Vimeo. That's Vimeo.com. And if you can upload that and send us the link at our email as well at info@ybt.net, that would be great because we can download that video and we can compile it into this video that we will show at the annual meetings of the World Bank and IMF in Peru. That will be all.
Okay, great. Thanks a lot, Jose. I think we're going to try to wrap up a little bit this conversation. Before I ask everyone if they have like some last comment to make, I think the most important point today is to have an ethical approach on starting a business. There are so many reasons for that. But yes, I try to play the devil advocate, but we cannot escape the fact that businesses are not separate entity of societies. If we really want to create a shared value for the society, we absolutely need to take an ethical approach on how we are designing our business ideas and how we are running our businesses. This is one of the biggest takeaway for this third question. Another key point also is education. How government should consider introducing business courses at the early stage of the education process to allow young entrepreneurs, to allow young people to not only at the end of the education, not only to look for jobs, but to also be able to create jobs. I think this is one missing point in the education system in so many countries. A final point also is taxes. Small businesses are contributing by paying taxes, and government also should empower young entrepreneurs at the beginning of the business venture with tax credit or tax break, I don't know, something like that to allow them to get started and to be able to pay taxes down the road. So this is the final part of the conversation, and I want everyone to tell us 1 or 2 points in general about young entrepreneurship, or if you have key recommendation for the Young American Business Trust for the final report. What will you say? Are there key points that you have in art that you haven't voiced so far that you want to let us know? So yeah, let's start with Dijon. Dijon,
Yes.
do you have a key recommendation, conclusion, something else to say?
Yes, I do. I would like to first commend everybody who gave their points, and the recommendation really is that we have a follow-up to this event, and that all parties involved could, of course, take notes, because I learned a lot from, let's say, cultural differences in Kenya and other parts of the world as well. So I think that really and truly we should, moving forward, take all the notes down and plot the way forward with this new information that we've gotten and put it into practice.
Okay, great. Who else? Mary? Mary?
I think, yes. My conclusion would be I think the government should make sure they implement, they implement the policies and the programs that they put up. Okay, they are already there, they seem to be working, but there's no impact at the ground where the entrepreneur is. We need to come up with a solution for that. Yeah.
Okay.
That's it.
Thanks a lot. Like they say in Kenya, Hakuna Matata, right? Anyone else? Again, this is the okay. Badin.
Yeah. Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. I have been listening to the conference, and then I think right now we are making some conclusion. I would like to say, then my advice to young entrepreneurs is to try to create something new and innovative, and make a lot of social where social can generate income for them. It's my recommendation to the young entrepreneur to make something great in sharing economic growth in the soft countries. And then I think it's very interesting, this conference. I have been listening to the attendees. Then I congratulate the YAP staff for this, and I hope I will participate better in the next conference. I have been just listening to the attendees, and I congratulate you too for your presentation. Okay.
Okay. Thanks a lot.
Okay.
So basically, you want people to focus on income generation.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, but by creating something new, something innovative, and make a lot of social with it. With your business, you make social and you solve problems. You make money, right? You are solving problems. You see?
Okay. Innovation to solve problem.
Yeah, solve problem and make money by resolving problems.
Okay, great. Thanks a lot. Ezekiel, final word.
Okay, yes, final words. Okay, I just want to say that in our developing countries, we need models. And because the only success models in our developing countries is politicians. So to be a model, we need to go from entrepreneurship to leadership. And that's why it's very important, the ethical approach, to be a leader, because trust is the foundation of leadership. And a leader will influence. You know, the true measure of leadership is influence, how we can influence. And the best way to influence people is to serve them. So my conclusion is the best way to last is to serve people in the best and the right way, so that you can have a company that will last, you can be a leader, and you can influence the most you can in your generation.
Wow, that's a powerful message. I do agree with that. For instance, in the United States, when you're in a business school, in a business class, or even in some, in some programs, they will bring in people in your field who have made a difference. And this is one of the best ways to empower people, to drive people to succeed. So that's a very good recommendation. If in Africa or in Asia or anywhere else, if we can put the spotlight on people who have succeeded, they can influence young entrepreneurs to do well as well. Thanks a lot. Anyone else before we say goodbye? Okay. I think we have a wonderful contribution, and I do want to thank everybody for your contributions. Jose, do you have one final comment before we say goodbye to anybody?
Well, I want to thank everyone for being part of this great dialogue. I want to let you know that we will be uploading this session and we will share it with you. It will be public in our website, which is www.ybt.net, but we will also send it to you through email. So look forward to that. And once again, just invite you to share with us your videos of you, short videos of you talking about these questions, and also any pictures you can send. Once again, we will compile this and show it at the annual meetings of the World Bank and IMF. Thank you very much, and I would like to also thank you, Bernard, for being such a great moderator.
Jose, and thank you, everybody. We will follow up with you with the report. We will do everything possible after the meeting in Lima to disseminate the report with you. So please stay in touch with the WABT website. You can subscribe to the newsletter, and we will send to you anything related to this conversation. Once again, thank you very much for your contribution, and I wish you good luck and success in your respective countries. And let's keep in touch. Thanks a lot. Have a wonderful day.